From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's evenings LA with a big recording tonight about your fourth stimulus, monthly stimulus checks. Suddenly, in the last 24 hours, monthly fourth stimulus checks have gone to mainstream news and now become the number one most searched and most watched and read story on one major financial news channel. Yes, suddenly everyone's getting the message out that senators want to give you monthly stimulus checks, that House members want to give you monthly stimulus checks, and new data today that supports why monthly stimulus checks are needed. A new report out today shows that giving monthly stimulus checks could lift millions of Americans out of poverty. And that new report comes as there's new concerns about Dogecoin becoming the latest tech bubble. This time could be for crypto. But what would forced stimulus give Americans? It would lift 6.6 million people out of unemployment, out of poverty. And this is as forced stimulus is becoming a major news story across the board. Also breaking news tonight is Massachusetts is seeking to revoke Robinhood's broker license. Also happening is forced stimulus got a major twist today as Morgan Stanley reported blowout economic numbers. Q1 numbers beat Wall Street estimates. In a week in which Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs delivered jaw-dropping Q1 numbers, what does that mean for your fourth stimulus? In this recording, we go over it. We also go over third stimulus. We go over the student loan debt forgiveness, the EIDL grant. Also, what's happening with mortgage assistance and renters assistance? A new report today has a new twist to it as well. It's a big night, and I have a lot of exciting news for you. I'm so excited you're joining me. We also have new video from the White House as a new night unfolds on Evenings LA. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining me on Evenings LA. The excitement's unfolding across the country as Americans now have fourth stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks, as a mainstream media number one front page news article today. One of the number one financial news channels certainly saw our coverage of fourth stimulus. I was the one on fourth stimulus before anyone else, covered it day in, day out, hour by hour, and guess what? Now they're covered as well. And they're not just covering it. It's now the front page news article for them, and it's also one of the most searched articles on that channel. Shows you how the tides have turned. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe because this channel is now approaching 1 year anniversary at the end of this month, April 25th, and you now see how this channel and you, the followers of this channel, Purple Power, push the narrative. You've been pushing for forced stimulus and broadcast media has heard you. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Wow, let's get right to the details tonight. A major broadcast news channel has now put forth stimulus as its front page news article, and it's also now its number one searched story. Forced stimulus became the number one searched story on a major financial news channel Friday. And it came after weeks of reporting on this channel about forced stimulus. Ironically, their coverage details everything that you and I have been discussing in this coverage. First, it covers the senators who want to give you monthly stimulus checks, the House members who want to give you the monthly stimulus checks. It covers the amounts, the routing times. It covers all the same issues. The narrative remains the same, that Americans need it, Americans want it, and the Democrats want to give it to you. But added to the mix is a new report out today from the Urban Brookings Center that says that 6.6 million people would be lifted out of poverty by those monthly stimulus checks. Wow. This is just incredible, great news. Well, how much are these monthly stimulus checks and what is the path across the board? Let's first get to that graphic and I'll come back to it later in this recording. Those monthly stimulus checks could be the biggest single payout you've ever seen for the viewers of this channel for a single individual. It would be anywhere from $2,000 a month or $1,400 a month for 6 months. $12,000 for a single individual or $8,400 for a single individual. This is not for the household. This is not for several people. This is you. This is if you're on SSI or SSDI, Social Security or Rail benefits or veterans benefits. This is you. There are two ways to get this done. And there's two different proposals. Let's go over them. The Senate versus the House proposals. The House proposal is to give it to you for about 18 months. It's to give it to you for the pandemic, the remainder of the pandemic, and then 1 year thereafter. That would amount to about 18 checks. The Senate, however, wants to do it a shorter period of time. They want to do it about 6 months from now till December. Who are the people behind this? Well, the House members are generally junior members of Congress. The senators are senior members of Congress. They're the movers and shakers. They define the legislative history of the government right now. And then the amounts. Well, they're a little bit different. The Senate wants to give you an unknown amount monthly, whereas the House wants to give you $2,000 a month and then $1,000 thereafter. And then we get to this big graphic. This is what Word on the Street says. Word on the Street says the senators want to give you about $2,000 a month or $1,400 a month. Now, earlier today, I asked viewers, would you prefer to get the House plan or the Senate plan? And I asked that question yesterday, and I'll drop in the comments right now. Would you prefer the House plan or the Senate? Drop in the word House or Senate. Viewers, both days have said they prefer the Senate plan. The Senate plan pays more money pays less money faster. So it would pay, let's say, for example, $12,000 in 6 months versus $18,000 over 18 months. Viewers rather get the money faster with the Senate plan than the House plan. What do you think? Drop in the comments right now. I'd love to see your questions, your reaction. House or Senate? A new report from the Federal Reserve this week showed that people don't spend the full stimulus checks. That's very fascinating. It showed anywhere from 30 to 50% of the money is actually spent on the first stimulus round and under the second and third stimulus round. Meantime, that third stimulus check, guess what today is? It's Friday. So another round of stimulus checks for the third stimulus package could go out today. I don't know. If anyone sees any updates from their direct deposit institution or sees anything from their direct express by Comerica, send me a direct message over social media. That update would likely happen tomorrow. What did happen this week? Well, on Wednesday, 2 million checks were sent out. And ironically, this is third stimulus, this is $1,400. It wasn't just for veterans. No, it included SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, or anyone who does not file a tax return and did not do a non-filer filing. This was a fix-it week, and those direct deposits landed on Wednesday. Mail checks are still coming out. And those March 26 mail checks, yes, checks are now about 3 weeks late, so give it some time. Some are still showing up. Big day, big news. And the big news also involves that $6,000. I'll be cutting more back to that fourth stimulus check in a second. But that $6,000 excitement came from Ron Wyden this week. Ron Wyden wants to give you $6,000. And this is on top of your stimulus checks. Here's what you need to know. In September, a lot of items which you have seen me cover on this channel are going away. Not me, they are. FPUC, likely to go away, not going to get renewed. PUA, likely to go away, not to get renewed. PUC, likely to go away, not to get renewed. So what will happen? Well, Ron Wyden has a solution. For purposes of PUA, he has a new replacement, and that replacement was introduced with a new bill this week. The bill proposes to give $6,000 per year. How does this work? Who gets it? It's for my former, or what will be my former PUA viewers. If you're a gig worker, sole practitioner, independent contractor, anything like that, he doesn't want you to go on in life with never having any more unemployment coverage. Why? UI, unemployment coverage, doesn't provide money for PUA people. It was something created by the CARES Act for people who are gig workers. Well, when PUA goes away, what does an Uber or Lyft driver get? What does a sole practitioner or a plumber or electrician get? Nothing. UI doesn't cover them. He wants to change that. He will give you $250 a week for up to 6 months per year, every year. as long as you so need it. It would be a lifetime program. It will never expire. It's a great idea. It's a great idea for something that PUA should be a permanent program. And this is his idea of doing a replacement for PUA as it's about to go away. He introduced the bill this week with the Democrat out of Colorado, Michael Benet, and it's called the Unemployment Insurance Modernization Act. He said we need something like this right now. Our unemployment system is broken, and it's been broken for decades, Wyden said. As we've seen last year, it's been much harder for the unemployment system to work in a crisis when it's been neglected and sabotaged. Pandemic unemployment assistance, as you know, helps millions of workers who are self-employed and can't collect from unemployment assistance because they're not employees. Well, what Wyden is proposing is the federal government would pay them that $250 a month for 6 weeks, and 6 months, and that would be a permanent program across the landscape. It's one of several standalone bills that are coming in from the Senate. Remember how a Senate bill works. If it starts at the Senate, then it has to go to the House, then back to the Senate and off to the President. So bills can always start in the Senate and then go over to the House. Remember, student loan debt forgiveness is in 2 places right now. It is with an executive order the president can sign any minute, and also with a bill that is currently in the Senate. Today was the deadline for Miguel Cardona to deliver his determination about student loan debt forgiveness. Elizabeth Warren says that student loan debt forgiveness should be forgiven. She said the president has a legal authority, and I'll have more about that coming up later in this video. But let's cut back to forced stimulus. In forced stimulus, there is a lot of items they need to do, and MSC is the top of the list. Earlier this week, Leader Schumer won that major award to do stimulus. But if you look at this chart as we head into May, third stimulus is heating up, but still not heating up is some of the money of third stimulus. Later in this video, I'll explain what money has still not landed for third stimulus and when will it land. But Leader Schumer won that big recon award so he can do the bill by stimulus. How would fourth stimulus work? It would go in a 2-prong approach and a 2-step approach. Let me explain it. First, the President of the United States, he doesn't legislate. He's an executive branch leader. He's head of the executive branch. He does not legislate. He makes proposals. Ultimately, the person who writes the bill are the House members. They go to the House subcommittees. They start, however, not with the substance of the bill, but the reconciliation. They decide, are we going to do reconciliation? Yes. Vote. We approve it. House members approve doing procedurally reconciliation, not the substance of the bill, but just that they're doing one. Then off to the Senate approves it, then off to the President signs it. So at that point, then it's time to go back and do the substance of the bill. What we just did first was the procedure. That's the tow truck passing over the finish line. Now the tow hitch is designed to determine what goes on it. The tow truck goes back and sits there for that tow hitch to be worked on. The tow hitch goes to the subcommittees in the House. They say, you know what? I got to put in the president's roads. I got to put in his infrastructure and his water. But you know what? Maybe I'll put in some salary raises for Department of Copyrights. Maybe I'll put in some money for foreign countries. And I'll throw that in there. And maybe I'll put in some stimulus checks. Now, the House members can put in the stimulus checks while they're doing this in subcommittees. That's preferred because ultimately senators can modify it. But if they don't put it in the House members, then they call for a vote. Then it goes over to the House. During a 2-day event called the Vote-A-Rama, Senate members then modify the bill. Senators don't do Vote-A-Ramas on the fly. One of the things I don't think I've made clear on the recent days is that Vote-A-Ramas are not done impromptu, ad hoc, off the cuff, cold reading, sort of like LALATE late nights coming up right after this show in about 2 hours from now. Don't miss that show. They don't do Vote-A-Rama like how I do Sirloin. They literally prepare it out months in advance. They know who's going to vote for it. They know what it's going to be phrased. They caucus quietly. They show how they're going to write it. They meet privately. They don't tell the public about it. They don't tell the Republicans about it. And then when they're ready to pounce as a congressional hawk, then they pounce. And that's what they do. These 21 to 50 Democrats are ready to pounce with those stimulus checks. The way they're going to devise it, how much it's going to be per month, they're not going to tell you to the very last minute. So viewers have asked me, do we know the amount of the senators' monthly stimulus checks? We do not. There's been YouTube channels where people are going like this, and the number's $2,000 next to the person's finger, and then a person who has a graphic and he writes $2,000 monthly checks as the thumbnail. Absolutely, totally false. No senator has ever put in writing the amount of the stimulus check. That's just clickbait. No one has ever said to you the amount of the monthly stimulus check for the senators. We have word on the street that they are inclined to do either $1,400 or $2,000, but we don't have a firm number. And we don't have a firm number. All we have from the senators is that they want it monthly and they want to go to the end of this year. So it's important to know that senators have this plotted out and they're ready to pounce. It's not coming for the president. It's not coming for the Republicans, and it comes by reconciliation. But what else could be in the fourth stimulus? And what else is happening with that student loan debt forgiveness, that EIDL grant, the mortgage assistance, the student $1,700 in the cities and states, the colleges? And then what about that rent money? Is that there in the cities and counties, or is it delayed? I have a lot of breaking details coming up later in this recording and new video from the White House. Stay with me as I detail all that coming up in just a second, and also free internet. It's a big night. And Evenings LALATE is just starting, but stay with me. First is a little bit about the community page and how the volunteers can help you get rent, utilities, food, and internet right now. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LALATE. Thank you for joining me. Coming up later in this broadcast, student loan debt forgiveness, EIDL grants, business grants. Also, the big exciting news about fourth stimulus, I'll be breaking it down, and what's happening with third stimulus this weekend. That and more, and also the confusion about doggy coin, and is there a bubble about to burst? Thank you for joining me on Evenings LA. How are you? You made it to the weekend, ready to crush the weekend, going to the casino? If you're not going to the casino, then I'll bring sirloin to you. Tonight, LA Late Night returns. It is our laugh-a-minute, lighthearted, easy-breezy, upbeat show that gets you through this pandemic with a smile on your face and keeps you motivated across the board. That's coming up in 2 hours from now. I hope you join me on that one. Here's our schedule. You're currently watching Evenings LA now at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, always, same time slot. Earlier today, you saw Afternoons LA at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 hours before this. But coming up in 2 hours from now is LA Late Night. And boy, Sirloin has a couple things to say to you about that. Tonight on LA Late Night, Sirloin and Javita Lake will rejoin you and give their opinions about what happened this week on stimulus. And they have opinions. They really have opinions. So I hope you join me tonight on evenings on late night. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. It's our 1-year anniversary at the end of this month, April 25th. So we're trying to get to 400,000 subscribers. We're very close, just a few thousand away. Please subscribe. Tell your friends and your neighbors, your pet, your llama, your cows to subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. And if you need help with the community page, as Sir Lloyd would say, the link is also in the description. The big details, which surprised everyone this week for purposes of forced stimulus checks, was the booming economy. The booming economy delivered great news after great news this week. And in fact, the news was so high that it was higher than anyone had anticipated. So what does this mean for your first forced stimulus? It means you want this bill in the Senate as soon as possible. The most important word or number on that graphic that I show you when we're talking about those monthly stimulus checks is the word July. Why is the word July so important? Because of the time element at issue. As you sit here right now, it is too hard to predict how strong the economy will be in July. We're currently rebounding. We're currently booming. We are currently on fire. I see some people in the comments sometimes say, no, it's because of this. Trust me, we are on fire now. Do not dispute we're on fire. Accept that we're on fire. The issue is you want the bill to the Senate now while we're not fully rebounded. Fully rebounded is different than being on fire. We're bursting, we're zooming, but we're not fully rebounded. What's missing? 8 million jobs have not been restored. They're not restored. As you said at the time of this recording, they're not restored, and that's what gets you monthly stimulus checks. Also not restored, well, there's 12 million Americans who are still on continuing unemployment. There's still 500,000 new unemployment claims per week. But with that comes really good news. So we don't know how soon the good news will overtake the bad news. We don't know how soon the economy will be fully restored. No one knows. And what this week showed us is that everyone gets everything wrong. So you don't want to risk it. Viewers have asked me, can they get these stimulus checks out before July? They can. Purple Power, you need to push. You need to push. Why is July the deadline? It's almost like that airlines event from last year. Remember when there was an airlines deadline in August? This is this year's deadline because Congress goes on vacation around July. You don't want this bill not taken care of and them going on vacation because by September, this economy could be fully rebounded. Those jobs could be fully restored. You don't want to risk it. Now, they could certainly get this bill done in June. Absolutely. It takes 2 months to do a reconciliation. So you want it done sooner rather than later. The economic data that came out this week, it was just jaw-dropping. It was just mind-blowing. Every day this week, the numbers showed two things. One, we're booming, and two, we're booming faster than anyone thinks we are, which is big for forced stimulus. It means that we need forced stimulus done sooner rather than later because we're booming faster than Wall Street, the Federal Reserve, or the White House thinks we're booming. Let's look how quickly we're booming. We're booming. We're booming. You booming? I'm booming. Wells Fargo reported Q1 earnings in the middle of this week. Look at what happened. It was projected to come in at 70 cents a share for Q1 2021. It came in nearly double it. It was a massive revenue beat as well. Then Goldman Sachs came in. Look at Goldman's numbers this week. Goldman Sachs Q1 2021 earnings reports came in at $18.60 a share. Wall Street is expecting $10. This is not a beat, folks. This is a blowout. These are jaw-dropping numbers. And then came the new unemployment claims, the lowest we have ever seen since March of 2020. This shows incredible rebounding. Every week on this channel, we've seen unemployment claims of 700 to 1.2 million new claims per week. It was the lowest ever since March of 2020. It's not because people had to recertify for claims or anything like that, because the continuing UI claims dropped 1 million in 1 week. It means 1 million people got off claims permanently for this year. At 1 million this week, I saw a drop of 75,000 California, 23,000 Virginia, Texas, and Ohio saw big drops. And then the big news came in from retail sales. My goodness. I mean, this is just Insane. Look at this. Now, retail sales could be spurred by a stimulus check. This is a stimulus check caused number to some extent. February was a drop of retail sales 2.7. Wall Street thought last month we were going to come at 6.7, 6.1. We came in at 10%. But we weren't done there. My goodness. This morning, back with another bank, Morgan Stanley. Wall Street is expecting 1.7 billion in profit like last year, Q1. Year to date, look at the growth. Q1 last year, 1.7 billion. Q1 this year, 4.1 billion. This is not growth. This is insane magnitude of turning of the tide. So this means that the economy is growing. The economy is growing. People will ultimately say, well, jobs are being restored. They are being restored. That things are picking up. They are being picked up. So what's missing? What's missing is jobs and people employed. You want this bill in the Senate while that's around. What's important to understand is that the Federal Reserve and the President and Janet Yellen all look at one thing: broad recovery for everyone. And broad recovery means everyone has a job, everyone's back to normal. So long as you have that 8 million jobs missing, and you have those 700,000 new jobless, 500,000 new jobless claims per week, and 16.1 million people unemployed, you have the push for forced stimulus, but you need to get it done. So what's not getting done? Breaking news report today, late today, before evening's LA, shows that rent assistance and homeowners assistance, the rent, the utilities, the mortgage assistance under second stimulus, is not even still landing in some states. Now, I'm talking about second stimulus, I'm not talking about third stimulus. And they say the third stimulus is set to land in May. Now, there's a real shocking developing detail, which is a new graph that shows that some states don't even have rent or mortgage assistance even landing, whether it's second or third stimulus yet, and they're not even sure when it's landing. This has caused a lot of confusion across the board. Ultimately, for example, I have one viewer, very nice viewer, who's in Florida, who's a member, and said, I can't find mortgage assistance in Florida. So guess what? The graphic that was released today shows Florida's status for mortgage assistance is unknown. So over the next few days, this is going to change, because in May, the big swabs of money are landing for your city, counties, and states for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, homeowners assistance as well. For reasons we don't know, it's not me, it's not the states, it's the federal government. The money has not landed there yet. It depends on some states. Some states do have it. California was one that does have it. Florida was one that doesn't have it. Midwest did. So all across the board, things are still happening and things are still changing. Also, what's changing is the big, exciting, great news about that EIDL grant. Well, I have two exclusives to tell you about the EIDL grant. If you applied for the EIDL grant in 2020, you either applied in March, April, May, or in July. The first exclusive bombshell I can tell you is that they're not being paid out in order. Really. They are sending out that EIDL $10,000 escalation email if you want the full $10,000 out of order. They're literally sending them out of order. So don't think that you chronologically applied first, you're going to get it before someone else. It's just not the case. They're doing all the low-income based businesses out of order. And then getting into the non-low income based businesses, probably also out of order. It's to be delayed. Moving goalposts. Then guess what? I can also exclusively report to you that if you did get that email and you responded in the month of February, you're stuck in another vortex. It's just the 1 year anniversary of Channel. Everything's coming back. It's just one of those weeks where everything's coming back. Sirloin's coming back. Vortex is coming back. And guess what? Temple of Doom came back today. This week as well. Yeah, there she is. Yeah, quickly. Okay, yeah, just don't blink. Just don't look. She came back in full form when someone proposed to her a new bill to increase the number of seats in the Supreme Court. She said, "Don't come back don't come back to me unless you give me exactly what I want." It's just like 2020 all over again. It's our 1 year anniversary of this month, and it just feels like, there we go. So also going live is a shuttered venue grant, not necessarily for venues. Go to sba.gov, apply for that. The restaurant grant about to go live. The PPP grant now live. Reach out at Fundera Cabbage, extended by executive order. And there is no grant to start a new business. The president did not get that into the third stimulus package. Meantime, student loan debt forgiveness is really heating up across the board with the president and Miguel Cardona delivering that news about the student loan debt forgiveness. I'll have more about that coverage tomorrow and what's going on with student loan debt forgiveness. Remember, the forgiveness of student loan debt will not be a taxable event because in the third stimulus package, they got it in there that it won't be taxable. But one item that could really impact next week is not a cow, but a dog. There's new concerns that Dogcoin, the cryptocurrency that started as a joke, may end as a lot of tears. Many now believe that Dogcoin will likely burst the crypto bubble. It has been a speculative buy with no valuation, and most of Dogcoin is held by just a few investors. The situation with Dogcoin is not Ethereum and it's not Bitcoin. Dogcoin has literally become the example of the get-rich scheme of 2021. If you're on Twitter yesterday, if you're on Twitter today, people were literally talking about buying Dogcoin because someone else bought Dogcoin, that it went up and that it's going to go up because the other person went up. There is no reason why people are buying it except they just see it going up. They don't know what it does. They don't know why it's going up, but they see it's going up and that hence it'll go up for them as well. And then when it does go up, they say, oh, it went up and let me buy some more because it went up again. That's not how you invest, folks. That's not how you invest. You need to know why things are going up. You need to know why things are going down. You need to know why and when things are going up and what really is the thing you're investing in. You don't just buy something because it goes up. You don't buy something because it goes down. Here's what you also need to know is that when things move, they can move very fast. In the case of Dogcoin, insiders believe that the vast majority of Dogcoin is held by a few individuals. A few individuals could make a major sell, and that could tank Dogcoin a second. That's not where you should be playing with your money, especially in this type of pandemic. I deeply worry for people. As Jim Cramer called it, junk. Crypto industry is panned it as not something you should be even looking at. Deeply worries me when I go on social media and I see it as the number one trending item. People staying up all late hours, putting their money in something so incredibly speculative. And if it does crash, it could really bring down the crypto industry with it as well. Meantime, again, the number one search story for major financial news channel today was for stimulus. And this is a big turning of the tide. You have done your push, Purple Power, and it has worked. People are seeing it. Meantime, 6.6 million people are being brought out of poverty, according to the Urban's Brookings Center today, if they did force stimulus. Also making news today is Robinhood, the online trading app, which, again, people are using to buy doggy coin. Massachusetts regulators are seeking to revoke Robinhood's broker license in the state of Massachusetts. I'll have the latest updates for that as well across the board. But join me next as LALATE goes into its new evening show of Evenings LALATE. That excitement kicks up in just a little bit. But here is new video from the White House released today about, first, two issues. Third stimulus, and then details about the variants at issue for COVID. Let's listen in a little bit to what the Vice President had to say.
Families need help. Even before the pandemic, childcare cost too much, and it was too hard to find and for too many families outside of their reach. The pandemic has accelerated the flaws and the fissures in our systems. Nearly half of parents say their current childcare situation is unsustainable. For providers, childcare costs are up, with new expenses like PPE, more cleaning supplies, and everything else that providers need to keep children safe. At the same time, revenues are down, with fewer kids enrolled. These are small businesses and nonprofits with thin margins to begin with. According to one survey, 1 in 4 child care centers that was open at the start of the pandemic is now closed. When child care centers go out of business, 4 things happen. 1, a small business owner, most likely a woman, loses everything. 2, child care workers, again, most likely women of color, they lose their jobs. There are 164,000 fewer child care jobs now than there were last year.
Also today, new video from the White House about the pandemic and how to deal with the surging cases of COVID across the country.
And as needed, socially distance and get tested as needed, and also go get vaccinated. As of Monday, all adult Americans will be eligible. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Walensky.
Thank you and good morning. As per my usual, I'll begin with an overview of the data. Yesterday, CDC reported 73,622 cases of COVID-19. Our 7-day average is up to 69,500, nearly 70,000 new cases per day. I know case numbers may seem similar from day to day, but just 4 weeks ago, our 7-day average was only about 53,000 cases per day. In concert with the increase in cases, the 7-day average of emergency department visits, hospital admissions, and hospitalizations are all approximately 5 to 8% higher than they were in the prior 7-day period.
And so there you see a lot of confusing data across the board, and data where we see the economy booming on one side, but we also see COVID cases rising on the other. It's an economy that's too hard to gauge, and it's an economy in which we see this week banks surging, unemployment numbers dropping, and we see incredible growth across the board. Ultimately, forced stimulus is the biggest payout you would ever see ever for a single individual on this channel. Whether you're on SSI or SSDI, Social Security or Railroad benefits, whether you are a veteran, person who makes less than $75,000, this is you. This is you. You need to push Purple Power. Hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. Share this video on social media and get it very loud and clear. You need to get this bill by recon as soon as possible. You don't want to give up a single minute. Join me next as LA Late Night heats up in less than 2 hours from now. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. I am looking forward to seeing you in that laugh-a-minute broadcast featuring Sirloin and Javita Light back on, giving you the laughs and giving the smiles. With that, stay informed, stay focused. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Like this video. Let's try to do 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 likes and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP, and get those PDFs before anyone else does, like that Ron Wyden new bill delivered the minute it came out. Stay with me, and I'll see you in about 90 minutes from now as LA Late Night heats up.